Future Talk with Omar Al-Busadi on Pulse 95.
Yes, you're listening to me, Omar Al-Busadi, and
Umnia Saleh on Future Talk, right here on Pulse 95 Radio.
We are absolutely excited. First of all, it's the month of March, and as you all know,
It's his birthday.
My birthday in this month. Omnia, it's your birthday next month, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But okay, let's just stick to my birthday.
Oh
so
my
all
God.
of you know, 25th of March, make sure there better be gifts in the studio. But today, we already had an early birthday celebration because we're honored to have in the studio the one and the only Ali Draycott.
Hey Omar.
How's it going, Ali?
Super, really great to be here. Thank
Ali,
you.
I'll tell you something. In the Middle East, the way we greet people when we like them, this is what it sounds like. So that is the way we greet
Arab
people
style.
in the Arab style. You-
Shukrana.
So guys, Ali Draycott, as you can see right now on my Instagram live, she's the director of the MENA region of Future Agenda. Welcome to the show. Today, guys, we have Ali Draycott because we're going to talk about the future of work, future of skills, and all those things that we've been discussing for the last over 80, 90 episodes.
90, yeah.
But we'll tell 90 episodes,
Yeah.
right? But there we go. So Ali Draycott is right there. Tune in just a few more seconds as we'll be back after this song. And if you have any questions, send them in on 4215 @Etisalat and on Instagram Live. You can see her right there. She's cool. She's hanging out. And we're ready for her questions. See you guys in a few minutes.
Future Talk. Future Talk with Omar Al-Busadi on Pulse 95.
So guys, you know, we put the Zaghruta or the Arabic yodel for Ali Draycott, but she was like, oh, it's very bizarre, it's very different. But we're going to do something more English for her and give her an applause. and a
Got you
woohoo.
covered.
So yeah, Ali, welcome to the show. We're really happy that you're here. But now, tell us about the future agenda.
Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. Future Agenda, well, it's a huge organization that goes around the world talking to people about what the future looks like. Specifically, we talk to experts about what the future looks like, and we play back that view. We also believe that no one can really own the future, and you cannot predict the future. But the most important thing to do is just talk to people who are experts and tell other people about it. So essentially, we can all be better informed. If you have a look at futureagenda.org, we make all of our research available because we don't believe like the future's proprietary. It's really what you do with it that matters.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, your website's very obviously detailed. We love it. It's a lot of interesting content. But I mean, what made the founders come up with the Future Agenda? Like, what was the initiative? What was that kick that said, oh, you know what, we have to have a think tank like this?
I think it's really, we live in an increasingly uncertain world. No one knows what's going on. Everything is changing so fast. And really the only way we can prepare for that is by taking in as many different views as possible. Organizations now, and even as individuals, we can't just do one thing. Like, we have to learn about lots of other sectors. We have to learn about things maybe outside of our sphere of interest. And so we believe that looking at across 25 sectors is really important, even if you only operate in one. So that's really what inspired it.
But
Interesting.
I have a question.
Yeah,
what
sure.
makes it unique, though? Like, we've seen other organizations give out statistics and reports. What makes Future Agenda stand out?
So in terms of its uniqueness, it's talking 10 years out. It's also unique because it works with experts, and it's also unique because we make it open, so we make it publicly available.
Okay, but now, okay, Ali, so this is what Future Agenda does, but you've been here for a while.
Correct.
Okay, and your experience spans from different sectors, and tell us about yourself and what made you kind of like be part of Future Agenda as well.
So I've been involved in Future Agenda since 2012. We originally did it as, I guess the expression is a side hustle.
Yeah.
We just did it for fun. It was amazing going around the world talking to people about what the future looked like, because we make it available to everyone, and we also don't charge people to attend. There was no salary, so we were doing it for free, but it was great fun.
Okay.
What brought me to the region was working in research, and then also have had an amazing time working with with different parts of the UAE leadership and various different organizations across the UAE, really to bring that strategy experience I got in the UK, but also that future view to some of the policies and experiences taking place here.
You know, Ali, I think you already know that I told you the fact that I'm writing this book about the future called, Why Jobs Are for Robots and Life is for People and everything, which obviously I also want to get some content for Future Agenda, just to hint. But the thing is, one of the struggles I have is keeping up with the stuff that's going on. It's insane. I mean, when people tell me, when's your book going to be published? I'm like, how can I finish when every time I turn on the TV or we talk about the story here on the show, it's like it's
Something
growing crazy. It's like I've never seen anything being upgraded so quickly like this. So how do you guys keep up?
So we do, in 2010, we did a global view of the world in 2020.
Okay.
And in 2015, we did a global view of the world in 2025. So the 2020 stuff, as you say, 80% of stuff has already come to pass that we've looked at. For the 2025 view, we'd say that actually it's beginning to be, have a need to be refreshed. But our way of keeping up is really pushing ourselves to talk to people who are leaders in their field, talking 10 years out, and really then looking at not just like specific issues, so statistics, but some of the drivers of change. So we identified like some common issues such as trust, identity, privacy, which will be actually big mediating factors in what we do. They'll influence everything we do over the next 10 years. So understanding those is a really important way of keeping up.
Interesting. We have a lot of questions for you, Ali, when we come back in just a few moments. But stay tuned. If anybody has questions for Ali Draycott, please send them through on 4215. And you can also send me messages here on Instagram Live. Ali Draycott, Director of the MENA region at Future Agenda. So stay tuned for more right now, right here on Future Talk Pulse 95.
Future Talk with Omar Al Busaidi on Pulse 95.
So you're listening to Future Talk with myself, Omnia Al-Saleh, and
Omar Busaidi.
And we are back with our special guest today, Ali Draycott. So Ali, I've got a few questions coming from, my student young self, and I've been wondering, a lot of people currently are talking about the rise of the useless class of humans. We're currently trying to major and study things that, in 20 years from now, they're going to be irrelevant. You know what I mean? So what advice would you give to students about the skills that they need or the majors that they should study in order for their future selves to be relevant to the world that they're going to be living in?
Well, sure. Amazing question. Thank you. And certainly a big one. Now, I'm afraid I don't have a crystal ball. So I kind of...
Oh, damn. We thought with that massive bag you've been carrying, I thought there was a crystal ball inside.
I know, but no crystal ball. But I can certainly tell you what we've heard. So from starters, it's really, we're looking at a future where people are going to have maybe 20 to 30 jobs. So it's really not necessarily also about jobs. People are going to be working more in projects. So you may not believe it, but actually 50% of the US workforce is already freelance. And we're looking to a much, much more freelance economy. So now what we're looking at is people not having essentially kind of one major or one skill throughout the whole of their career, but really need to have flexible skills and be adaptable for lots of different projects in order to get paid. You kind of hear it quite a bit. It's called the gig economy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is going to go wider and wider and wider.
Ali, something that we mentioned to, I mentioned to Omni a few days ago, singularity. Tell us about singularity.
Well, Omar, it's a big subject. Tell me, what's your interpretation of it?
I mean, what is this whole thing about the fact that humans are going to be more augmented with technology and everything else? I mean, what is Future Agenda talking about in terms of humans being augmented by the evolution of technology into everything that we're doing now?
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of this depends on your kind of philosophy in life. Some people can be really negative about it. And where we see AI taking over jobs is actually where there's jobs that are repetitive. You need to be more accurate, or it needs to be done at volume. Now, obviously we see that happening in factories and machines, but also increasingly, I think we're going to see it in the area of lawyers who sometimes just check documents, accountants where you're doing high volume transactions in banks as well. But also there's another point of view, which is saying, okay, the first industrial revolution actually created jobs. So if we look at what happened when factories came into place, it was massive job creation.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it's that the blacksmith has gone to the factory operator, and maybe there'll be another version of that as we go forward.
Exactly.
So is it assisted intelligence or artificial intelligence? There's a big argument that says
I like that. Assisted intelligence. We never even said that word.
We talked about collaboration,
and we talked about
assisted.
artificial super intelligence. So there's like the artificial intelligence and artificial super intelligence. Everybody is talking about it and saying, oh, you know, like it's one thing about, you know, okay, so artificial intelligence is your calculator, for example, but then there's this super intelligence when it like can even like answer the question before you say it, because it's like thinking or reading your brain or something.
I mean, we have to remember that everything that's programmed has to come off a model that's been created. Now that model has to be created by a human being.
Yeah.
So like there are some things where there are just so many variables. They still cannot get a robot to pick up a cup of tea and have a sip of it because there are too many variables.
Interesting.
So when there are straightforward tasks, fine. But when we got to remember that it's us in charge of the robots, not the robots in charge of us.
Interesting. When we come back, I'm going to ask you, are you team Elon Musk or team Mark Zuckerberg? Because Elon Musk will disagree and Mark Zuckerberg will be on your side. Ali Draycott, director at the Future Agenda, who's right here on Future Talk Pulse 95. If you have any questions, text us in on 4215, or you can also just send us on Instagram Live, because Ali is right in your face right there on my Instagram Live, right? Okay, guys.
Future Talk with Omar Al Sadie on Pulse 95.
Future Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the studio with Ali Draycott, who's the director at Future Agenda right here in the United Arab Emirates. We're absolutely honored because she's shedding light on the subject that we love to talk about every single day. Ali, welcome back.
Thank you.
So, Ali, now while you're bumping your head there, enjoying the music, it's Goldfish, by the way, just in case you want to know who it is. And yeah, I know, I told you, this is what we do with house music. This is what we do, and only during this hour. So we tell people you don't only listen about the future, but you actually listen to the best music in the world, house, right here on Pulse 95. So Ali, Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk? So to make the question a little bit more clear, Elon Musk says machines can take over humans. He is a firm believer of that. Is like, and he even said that quote once about Sophie, the robot, and said, you know, just let her watch a couple of episodes of Terminator 3, and that's it. You know, it will do exactly what it's seen. And Mark Zuckerberg does not believe that. He's like, no, I don't agree, and it won't happen. And we're far more superior than robots. What do you think?
So, well, you should ask me this question again in like 6 months. Partly because we're just about to launch a big project on the future of autonomous vehicles. And when I say future of autonomous vehicles, we always think cars, right? Yeah. But actually, what about ships? If you look at the impact of autonomous shipping, where you don't have the risk of running someone over, but you can improve freight and transport and also security globally. That's an important one. Autonomous airplanes, it happens quite a lot. So I guess that's sort of where Elon Musk's coming from. Yeah. In terms of the Mark Zuckerberg view, I mean, it's interesting. We just did a load of workshops in collaboration with Facebook globally on the future value of data. Yeah. And really, I think where you see the limitations on engineering, which is maybe where Elon Musk is coming from, is more on the social side, which I guess is where Mark Zuckerberg's coming from, where you see people's reactions to this. And I kind of go back to the point I said, we are in charge of the robots. Yeah. And the laws and the governance and the ethics around these things will probably be the things that stop full singularity. Because if it's not in our interest, you'd hope we would regulate against it. But where it is in our interest, it should have permission to happen. Yeah.
You know, Ali, obviously I need to ask you this. Obviously, the UAE is the only country I know right now, and I think with Denmark, but we started with having a minister of artificial intelligence. How important is that? And you're doing this work right now at Future Agenda.
So in terms of having a Minister of Artificial Intelligence, so important. All governments need to have people that are future facing. And I know that like the Minister of Artificial Intelligence has been having lots of cooperation conversations.
Yes.
Because really we need to make sure that actually not only do we develop the technology, but the technology is integrated and also regulated across the world.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We've got to look at cooperation between technology, which is not something that we've never really had to think about. But when you think about the Internet of Things, where everything potentially has a microchip from your fridge to your I don't know, your iPad to your you know, whatever. You've got your trainers, your sports kit, your whatever. We need to be looking at how that impacts society, but also how that impacts stuff like international relations.
Interesting. You know, I mean, when we talk about artificial intelligence on our show, we try to discuss what's happening around the world, from the US and Europe and also in China. Now, the funny thing is now when you talked about creating a code of ethics around AI and developing AI, I think we already have a massive issue when it comes to AI. Maybe it's a cultural thing or God knows what. But like, for example, in China, when it comes to intellectual property, there's a complete clear violation on so many different things. I mean, you know, you don't need, it's not like a conspiracy that I'm coming up with or anything. There's so many documentaries, there's live things that you can see where even right now, if sneakers, like, you know, your Adidas or your Nikes, there's like so many knockoffs that are being produced in China. If we can't regulate that, how are we going to create regulations on, like, for, you know, a universal or universal codes of ethics around AI?
Yeah, I mean, agreed. And let's be clear, like AI covers hundreds of different sectors. So one of the roles that Future Agenda believes it has is looking at areas of critical future importance, but where there is a lack of clarity or a lack of certainty and there's no particular way forward. So we just recently looked at the future of patient data globally, because actually your healthcare data is worth about 10 to 12 times more than your financial data, because people can do more with it. But as you say, there are huge regional differences. So the way that the US manages data and the way that India manages data and the way that Europe manages data is totally different. The question is, if we're ever going to have a global healthcare approach, those systems on data are not integrated.
Interesting. This is like it's probably going to be globalization going backwards.
I know, right?
Because just when we were happy and excited and we said, oh, we're going to put the borders down and yes, we all want to be one big happy family and talked about global village, we're going to go back to basics. You're listening to Future Talk with Future Agenda. Right here on Pulse 95. When we come back, Madame Omnia Saleh is going to have a whole bunch of more questions, very, very tough questions that will put Ali in the hot seat. Stay tuned. You're listening to Umar Boussaidi and
Omnia Saleh right here on Pulse 95 Radio.
Future Talk. Future Talk with Omar Al Boussaidi on Pulse 95.
Yes, you're listening to Future Talk with myself, Omnia Saleh and
Omar Al Boussaidi.
And
right here on Future Talk Pulse 95. Okay, go on.
So we've got Ali today with us, and she's talking all about the future. And with International Women's Day being just around the corner, I have a question regarding all the women in our lives. So with the rise of automated jobs, you know, we all know how the gender bias in the workplace has been, you know, an existing issue for the longest time. Do you believe that as our jobs become more and more automated, that this bias will decrease? Because we know that the future is asking for more soft skills, and women tend to be in more jobs that are, you know, that deal with that than men tend to be.
Yeah, so again, I guess I go back to the Industrial Revolution, and actually, weirdly, even though we all probably hate the washing machine and hate the dishwasher, it actually did the most for women getting into the workplace, because it meant you didn't have to be at home so much. So there's one bit of AI, which is if you can make my life at home a lot better, or potentially make it so technical that a guy can run it, that maybe things will improve. But I do think that when we look at the workforce, the problem potentially that we're going to have is that this AI is going to be predominantly coded by men. And the question is, if it's coded by men, does it mean that it's got a bias in it already? So is AI male?
Actually, you know what? I'm not surprised, because every AI that comes out is the female. The name is Sophia, it's Vera, you know,
Jealous.
Siri, whatever.
Really?
All of them.
Alexa.
This
True.
Alexa is never a dude.
Well,
so maybe because the
And they're
guys have
almost
been.
always white.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. Maybe because the guys were abandoned, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna create our own. Like, we're gonna create the person that will talk to us now.
Well, it's a bit like the internet is kind of very San Francisco,
Yeah.
and it's very kind of white male, as
Yeah,
you
yeah.
say. So
Yeah, yeah.
kind of my big thing is like, if we want AI to work for women, we need more women to kind of
Yeah.
get out there, be
True.
techies,
Yeah.
integrate some of those soft skills,
Yeah, yeah.
make AI more human.
Yeah, no, but for Ali, the white, we were talking about the actual robot. It's always
Yeah.
white
Oh, no,
color.
of course.
It's
But the
never
internet
any other
is-
color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what? I was like, is it because I'm black?
Yeah,
anyways.
maybe.
Anyways,
Okay.
we don't have much time. We're done. I mean, literally, we're just about to touch 4 minutes. Ali, you're an absolute gem. Thank you very much for coming on the show today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We are so honored because Ali Draycott, who's the director at Future Agenda and also one of the fathers, I was going to say fathers, but mothers, founding mothers of Future Agenda. She came on the show today, and we're really happy because it's the first episode where we have a guest on the show. And
Such an
we're really, really
achievement.
happy. It's in, you know, yes, it's International Women's Day is like next week or so, or in a few days, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, well, I'm just going to think it's today. And also, I said earlier, my birthday is 25th of March, but today is my birthday.
It's
Because
his
Ali
early
came on the
birthday.
show. Thank you, Ali.
And March 1st, World Futures Day.
Oh, yes. March 1st is exactly. That's the reason why we didn't do. Oh, yes. Ali, you're so cool. We're going to give you one more time a woohoo and a massive audience and everything. And because, you know, you were really funny, so everybody's like laughing as well, including that.
Now he's on a roll.
So until then, tune in tomorrow. If you guys have any questions for Ali, we will get her back on the show. We don't know when exactly yet, but we'll find out with her schedule because she's busy trying to create the future and and communicating it with the rest of the world. But let us know your questions. Text us in on 4215 and also send us your messages on Instagram and every other social media channel that we have on Pulse 95 Radio. But from myself and
Neil Saleh. We'll see you tomorrow with more futuristic stories. Stay tuned.
2 p.m.
Future Talk, for tech talk that impacts our lives.